right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we're going to cover a ton of stuff, so stick around. We're going to cover, of course, what is going on the other side of the planet. We're going to cover what is happening here, the weather events, and solar events on the way. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today we have a ton to cover, so we'll get right into it. First of all, if you are new here, remember you can find all of our sources and every single piece of info, whether it be a picture, a video, a document, an article, a tweet. It will all be available on our website. When you go over to our website, marfooglenews.com, you will see that it is all organized by thumbnail, so you'll look for this thumbnail. You don't need this crystal ball to see what's next. And then once you click that, you will see that we have a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we are going to show you here today. Will all be there bibliographed. Now, there is something to note about the website. Make sure to understand that there is a yellow bar further down the way. That is web-only content. That is the stuff that is essentially too hot for TV, that goes too far to one direction to be talked about on regular platforms. And again, the stuff that is too hard to stay neutral on. We have everyone from every background in the audience, and we want to make sure that, again, without pandering, to be able to have everybody be able to conversate without just sitting in circles, which a lot of stuff is, sadly, we are very divided. We have a lot of stuff down there, including my the tweets from the Foogle fam. These are all Foogle fam that submitted odd videos from generators to all of the military action that is going on. Again, there is more over on my Twitter at Marfoogle, so make sure to go check it out. And then on the right side, there are affiliate links. Those are all the different products that we'll talk about during the show. Essentially, we do our own ads since, again, because we are covering controversial things, again, we are not suitable for most advertisers. So again, that helps us support ourselves and our families. So thank you, everybody that does go through that. Most cases you get a discount and you are helping the channel out and you are getting an awesome product that may save your life out of it. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother / the Dex James. What is going on, Dex? How are you doing?
Hello, Adam, and hello.
Well, let's try that one more time. I guess it didn't go through.
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
There we go. We got our decks. Let's get right into it. Just to talk about some of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Xi and everything that is going on over there. The possible May 9th declaration of conflict. Again, that's speculation. We're going to talk about Taiwan. We are, of course, going to talk about France on the brink of conflict with them as well. We'll talk about all of that and more right now. All right, so first of all, NASA is sending artificial female bodies to the moon to study radiation risks. It says Helga and Zohar are headed for a trip around the moon on an important mission, measuring radiation risks for female astronauts for the first time. An inanimate pair of mannequins modeled after the body of an adult woman for the Artemis 1 mission, in which an uncrewed Orion capsule will travel to the moon and back, and one of the mannequins will be outfitted with a newly developed radiation protection vest. Helga and Zohar, as they've named them. And again, this would be like something, we have an audience member / creator that creates on YouTube, Joseph Newhouse. If you want to look into the meanings of Helga and Zohar, I'm sure there's something weird there. And then do a video on that. That would be interesting. A newly developed radiation protection vest, Helga and Zohar, as they're called, won't be alone, as they'll be joined with a third mannequin that will collect data about flight accelerations and vibrations. Artemis 1 is scheduled to blast off later this year. The Artemis program aims to return humans to the moon for the first time in over 50 years. But this time, the space agency has vowed to land the first woman on the dusty lunar surface. Women appear to be at greater risk of suffering from the harmful effects of space radiation, so they have different radiation boundary levels than their male colleagues. Again, maybe what's his face will do a female astronauts are not equal, change my mind or something. Crowder. It looks like there are physical differences and it affects the females. So they're going to be testing that. And then we have 15 inches of snow makes Nebraska look like the middle of winter in early May. Portions of interstates were shut down and numerous traffic accidents were reported amid a blast of winter weather on the second day of May in the Nebraska Panhandle. It says the Nebraska Department of Transportation works to try to reopen Interstate 80 on Monday after heavy snowfall totals hit the Nebraska Panhandle. It can certainly snow in May, something that residents in parts of western Nebraska learned Monday as a heavy dose of fresh powder closed highways and led to several accidents. Some places in Nebraska Panhandle picked up nearly a foot or more of snow on the second day of May. So we're in the fifth day of the fifth month of the year, and we're getting snows in many places. And across the planet, we have seen a lot of crazy change. Everyone has a theory of what is happening. Of course, some of them highly debated. But again, with this, it seems like every year that I cover this, it gets crazier and crazier. And we're not really even, really into the crazy season. In summer, we're going to see all the heat. In summer, we're going to see all the fires. In summer, we're going to see all of the heat waves hit across the United States. I feel like every year it's gotten worse. I don't know if that's statistically true, but it seems from covering it. Last year we had the California events, and then the year before that, you had, I believe, Paradise and other things like that. So very weird weather. And then we have Sony reportedly refused Chinese government's demand to scrub Statue of Liberty from latest Spider-Man film. So this goes on to say, and Dex, I'll pull you in here because this is exactly what we have talked about before as far as them with these requests. And we've talked about it. Of course, one of the main things we talked about is how John Cena actually learned Chinese to apologize about calling Taiwan a country, basically groveled. A lot of people have never let that go and haven't really let him, let that go. But as far as we've talked about how Hollywood is highly kind of, I guess, not even indebted, more so basically controlled by a huge chunk of a government that is across the planet. And that is because they own a lot of Hollywood, they own a lot of the production companies, but they also own a huge stake of where these movies will be played. Over 1 billion people, 1.4 billion people there, their box office numbers are usually out of this world. So Dex, this is exactly the same thing, only different. I've never heard them say like scrub this or scrub that, though.
Well, what's interesting, you've got to take into, when the movies are made, there's lots of different players, right? From, distributors to the actual studios, et cetera. And we know that G's country is, embedded heavily in lots of that throughout Hollywood. But remember, Sony is Japanese, right? And I'm assuming, I'm pretty sure, I tried to look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure that even through all the holding companies that still own Sony Pictures and the other Sony properties, it's still owned mostly by Japan, right? Or by nationalists from Japan. So that, got to take that with and understand what that means, because they actually pushed back against G and said, no, you're not going to force us to scrub that out, whatever the conflict is between the different groups. But ultimately they said no, and they weren't pulling it. So that's
I don't know, man.
It's interesting, but it's also indicative of what we see all the time, and we've pointed out here numerous times of what type of editing goes on in Hollywood in relation to Xi's country, right?
I mean, that's like straight out of NK kind of stuff, like scrub the Statue of Liberty and some of the more patriotic shots. Who is calling the shots here in this country? I don't understand. Now, this is one example of them pushing back, but where would the goal be to get rid of it or minimize it? By the way, if you haven't seen this new Spider-Man, that last part of the movie it's basically a giant scene shot at the Statue of Liberty. It's literally the entire background. It is the scene. And I just wonder if they purposely made it under construction as they did, with all of these, rafters and all of these kind of, all of these ladders and all this kind of stuff to make it look under construction. So when they did all these scenes, it wasn't clearly the Statue of Liberty. I mean, this is just like really weird stuff. So they said they turned it down, but what if they edited it, or originally they were crawling around on the actual statue and not a bunch of rebar kind of rafters or something? I don't know. This is just really, really just beyond. People need to wake up to what is happening right here. It says the Chinese government then asked if the Statue of Liberty could be, according to Puck, minimized in the sequence if Sony could cut a few of the more patriotic shots of Tom Holland standing atop the crown, or dull the lighting so the Lady's Liberty visage wasn't so front and center. That shows they are offended just by the symbols of our freedoms in our country. It says, according to Puck on Sunday, citing multiple sources, the government requested the Statue of Liberty be digitally removed from the film. Despite its inclusion in a pivotal scene, Sony rejected the request. Well, of course they did. That would have been millions of dollars, and they would have to reshoot the entire... What are they going to be floating around in just rafters? If you see that scene, it's them literally jumping around the Statue of Liberty. There's those rafters there, but that's the whole scene. So how would they have the goal to even ask that? If that is verified, and if that ends up being like completely true, and I mean, that's just insanity. That should tell you where Hollywood is right now. Sony may have said no now, but what little requests are they actually saying yes to? That's my question, and it should be all of yours. And then we have millions of tons of grain stuck in UKR amid fears of global food crisis. It says the United Nations director has warned there are millions of tons of grain stuck in UKR as more disrupts food production. It says regional director of the United Nations World Food Program, Germany-based Martin Frick, has said that there are as many as 4.5 million tons of grain just sitting at UKR ports waiting to be exported. Are you kidding? Like, what is going on here? with everything else that is happening right now and with all of the other events that everybody's been following, and everybody's not stupid, they see what is happening, how in the world can they not figure out an operation to go and get that grain? Get it out. They say it's stuck because of these ports. But then again, they're telling us that they're retaking everything that's been taken, that they have backed off and they've done all this, that they're taking out targets in the other country, but yet all of this grain is somehow stuck. It's weird. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Dex.
And Adam, I just wanted to, I have a piece of breaking news, but it's so breaking, there's nothing other than a line. So I'm just going to read it. But it is South Korea has just said that NK has fired an unidentified projectile. So it's so breaking. And it just happened. We don't know any details. Like, is it going into the sea? Is it a test? Did it go somewhere? I'm sure we'll find out more over the coming hours and probably into the night. So, but that is the breaking news, and the article would just say exactly what I said, nothing else. That's coming from Associated Press out of Seoul, SK.
Can you put that in up next or in screener and let me pull that up? And then just want to say thank you to Obilly2226 for doing a super thanks on the show Crispy Situation. Again, super thanks is new, so I really do appreciate people utilizing it during the replay. Again, Obilly2226, thank you so much for the super thanks. And then Mary Wright says, thanks, longtime listener. Thank you for everything you do. Hey, thank you, Mary Wright. I appreciate that, and thank you for the super thanks. Kevin Bradford, thanks, and I appreciate the work you guys do. And Marf, those beats are legit. One of my favorite parts of the show. Hey, Kevin, thank you. And yes, most people understand that those are made on the spot. I don't ever claim that they're good, and most of them are garbage. So thank you. I do appreciate that. I think last night's was pretty good, but thank you. Dangerous. Hey, Adam and Dex, I'm 40 today. May 4th be with you all. Have a good show. I'll catch you on the replay. Dangerous. Thank you for the super thanks on Crispy Situation. And then Carol Wasson. Thanks again. Tico and Taco. I appreciate that. Kimberly Brooks. Been with you during your lunch breaks. Who knew you would get this big? Super proud of you. Kimberly Brooks, thank you so much, and that really is appreciated. And thank you for being here for so long. Lake, thank you for the super thanks. K-Rec, and then Tammy Brown. I appreciate all of you guys. Three City Cats, thanks. A huge thanks to Three City Cats. Mr. Scott, Kelly2334, and then Diane Moses. Thank you, everybody, and I appreciate everybody that has used that new feature. Again, appreciate all of you guys, so thank you. All right, and then I'll pull up this breaking news. Hopefully, it is just one of their crazy tests that they've been doing for all of these crazy tests. In fact, in January they did 7 or 8 launches. That was one of the most busy and active months. So this is so breaking. So for all of you replay watchers or the people that go, oh, it landed safely in the water, you freaking people out, we're covering it as it's coming out. In fact, over the last few days, I've covered a few things that are so breaking that, within 3 minutes, they're debunked. And within 3 minutes, I'll put the debunk up on Twitter. But people were like, oh, well, why even post it? Well, Twitter doesn't have an edit button. In fact, that's why Elon, when he asked if there was an edit button, that would be nice to do an edit on, especially something like breaking news when it changes, because that's something that it's like, if you delete it, then you're deleting and hiding something that you said. I've always said that if I make a mistake, I will clarify it and fix it, but to delete it is basically saying I didn't say it. I never thought that was really right. Tristona, thank you for the Ninja Genie over on D-Live. Thank you for the D-Live, folks, and thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the D-Live only show. We're going to be doing another one here soon. I appreciate all of you guys over there. Lisa K23 especially, thank you for being at every show. Tuesday is a great day to watch Marf and Dex. Vicky K, Stacy, Bomba, Pam Beth, and Michigan Prepping. Thank you, everybody that just popped in. So let's see here. Don't know why it didn't load the first time, but let's get it the next. All right, so This is out of AP News, and this is literally breaking as we speak. As new things come in, and by the end of the show, we'll probably have this updated, but just keep that in mind. Alert: South Korea says that NK has fired an unidentified projectile. This is very worrying, but I would say keep your wits about you. The only reason why is every time that something like this pops up, until we know it's hit or landed in the water and we know it's a test, one of the task force, the Pentagon task force that actually works on EMP, the EMP task force, they have said that NK is one of their top priorities. They believe that NK is the most probable for doing a fractional orbital bombardment system or an EMP. They are looking at it incredibly seriously because, of course, their country is quite possibly the most unpredictable. But who knows what has happened in the last couple years, the stuff that's gone on with Kim and him getting surgery, possibly perishing and then not perishing, and then they said he possibly had brain damage and then he didn't. And then now his sister has stepped in on a ton of things, and his sister is just as kooky. So don't know what to say about that. And then before we talk about get ready for another energy price spike, which many people are not looking forward to, this is quite alarming, actually, because we're already at a high price spike. I do want to remind you, if you have not gotten yourself ducks in a row, make sure to go over and check out the Essentials of Life at My Patriot Supply. You can go to marfooglenews.com/prep to get everything from long-term survival food, water filtration systems like the Alexa Pure Pro, and of course, battery supplies, power banks, iodine tablets if you are worried about anything nuclear, and of course, you have emergency radios and all sorts of other gadgets. If you are a survivalist and you like the gadget side especially, they have a ton of really cool stuff over there. The greatest part about this is, one, you will get a discount on certain things, and two, you get something of great value, and three, you are helping your favorite channel as well. When we send you over, they essentially send us a small percentage of your purchase, a commission. That way we can support ourselves and our little tiny independent channel. Again, and at the same time, you get something out of it. Everybody wins. That is marfooglenews.com/prep. Again, somebody said, if you want people to prep so bad, why, tell them not to go through you and just to buy the stuff. Well, if you realize people are getting discounts on most things, so they're actually spending less than they would if they just went and bought it, and they're helping the show. I don't see the logic there. I think that it's really one of the least bad ways to earn a living as far as what we do and how we do it. So thank you, everybody that appreciates that. I really do thank you guys. All right, and then that's, again, marfooglenews.com/prep. Very easy to get to. Make sure to use the code Marfoogle on any of the affiliates to make sure that we do get credit. Get ready for another energy price spike. High electric bills. Especially during summer and during winter, we have seen some crazy things, especially in Texas, when they had just crazy gas prices and energy bills for people that were using their heat. Crazy prices for people that were using their air conditionings in the summer last year, and now it looks like it's going to happen again. Dex, do you want to talk about this? And basically, the national average for residential electricity was up 8% in January from the year earlier, and it seems like it's only going up.
Well, yeah. So, just thinking about where our power comes from, a lot of it comes from, fuel and other things that we have to use to run generators to create that power. Certainly there's, solar out there and wind out there, and of course, nuclear plants and other things that add into it. But the consumables that go into parts of the grid that are significant cost money, right? And those consumables are going up significantly in price. So that's I think probably the main contributor, but the real thing we have to be prepared for is it's sort of nice, most of us, as if you have 4 seasons where you live, if you're in Florida, maybe not, but you're in this springtime when we're not using a ton of heat, if you got electric heat or not, and you're not using a ton of air conditioning just yet. So we kind of have a little break, but we probably all just came off of a very expensive cold winter with our electric bills or our other heating bills, especially with oil and gas. And now we're going to go into summer. And that energy obviously spikes quite a bit in the summer because there's really no alternative but electricity when it comes to air conditioning, for the most part. So you'll see, we're going to see all those high demands all the way through summer. And that's going to cause, with this price increase that's going up, we're going to feel it big time. So, usually, at least where I live in the summertime, our electric bill is probably the highest it ever is during the two hottest months of the summer throughout the whole year. I can only imagine how bad it's going to be if the prices are hiked up even more on top of that usage, right?
Yeah, it's kind of reverse here because we, in Seattle, we have basically, it's like, they joke about it with postcards with 4 pictures of Seattle, like the 4 seasons, and all 4 pictures are the same, and it's just rain. But we really do have some cold winters, and not everybody has air conditioning here because we don't really need it. Hot days, the hottest summer gets up like, record breaking was like 105. I think this last year, by the way, I should say before last year, it was quite normal, and like the highs, we would get up to 80 and we would be burning up. If it's 75, like all of us are moaning and complaining. But as far as last year, I don't know if you remember this, but my power went out because of how hot it was, and it was 118 degrees. I'm not kidding you. In fact, Dex, I think our hottest weather actually broke your all-time high in Georgia, and that's Georgia.
Right.
118 degrees. I tweeted out pictures of the actual thermometer in my car, and it said like 129 or something in my car, and then it said 118 outside. So if that's not, whether you believe in change or not, I think more people actually, I guess, debate whether, who's doing it or what's doing it, right? I think things are changing, that's for sure. So this is not fun for anybody. And then we have Taiwan considers alternatives after U.S. informs of howitzer delay. So, by the way, why would they consider alternatives? Well, if there's a delay and they think they need it right now, then I could see that being one. It says Taiwan's defense ministry said on Monday it was considering alternative weapons options after the United States informed that the delivery of an artillery system would be delayed due to a, get this, crowded production line. Dex, when you read crowded production line, what did you think?
Sounds like we're busy making a lot of equipment right now. And a question for what?
Yeah, are we making it for UKR or are we making it for ourselves? It says Washington last year approved the potential sale of 40 155 millimeter M109A6 medium self-propelled howitzer artillery systems to go to Taiwan. Value up at $750 million, which Taiwanese media said had been due to be delivered by 2023. Here's what's crazy. That's $750 million. That is a lot, but that's only 40 artillery. I mean, it's a lot, and it's not. In the grand scheme of things, we just gave multiple payments of $800 million to UKR. So think about the gear they're supposed to be getting with that money, even though most of us think that maybe that money is possibly not all going towards what it is. But again, that's not that much considering they are supposed to defend themselves against the great 1.4 billion, population of G-land over there. That's pretty insane. You would think, I wonder how many other things they have under contract to be built for them right now, and how soon is it supposed to be made. It says that Taiwan, though, is considering other precision and long-range alternative weapon systems, including truck-based rocket launchers made by Lockheed Martin Corporation called the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS, which many of you military here actually know about because we've talked about this on previous shows. We've seen these HIMARS on the freeway. In fact, I believe we had a caller. Was it Bob that basically told us that it was a HIMARS? We had somebody submit a photo and said, like, what the heck is this? And then one of our callers said that it was HIMARS. So we've actually talked about these specifically on the show, and it looks like they're considering that because they can't get the tanks quick enough. If the tanks were supposed to be delivered in 2023, do they need something more, I guess quicker than that? It says it did not say why the production line was snarled, but the United States has been ramping up its military support and supply of equipment for UKR following the, of course, invasion. It says Taiwan, claimed by Xi as its own territory, is undertaking a military modernization program to improve its capabilities to fend off an attack from Xi, including a precision weapons like missiles. So, and funny way to put this, it says U.S. officials have been pushing Taiwan to modernize its military so it can become a porcupine hard for Xi to attack. I honestly, with the force that they have, largest navy in the world, and the now possibly becoming the largest air force in the world, I don't know how much hope many people there have. It says why May 9 is a big day for Russia and what declaration of war would mean. So we talked about this on the main channel. If you go over to Marfoogle News, that's a shorter form version, about 10 minutes long, that you can go and share that with friends and family. Essentially, legacy media is all over the place. And again, I know most of you don't believe them, but they are all stating or telegraphing that Vlad is going to declare officially a conflict against UKR, against the U.S., against our allies. The new part would be, us, and people go, well, I thought they already declared it against UKR. They haven't. They have told their people, whether they are in an official conflict with them or not, they have not actually declared official WAR towards UKR. So you have, essentially, they are telling their people it's a special military operation. So if they're telegraphing this, and they have telegraphed almost everything that has happened so far, is this the next part of the plan? Is this going to happen? I know that most of you look at it and go, well, 5% of what they say is true anymore. Well, I guess it's kind of like you're gambling to say that it's not that 5%, because it sounds like everyone is jumping on board with this and saying that they have information that Vlad is going to declare. Now, the date, just to clarify, and I wish I would have probably clarified it better. I did make sure to say on that other video that, this is basically they're saying that this would be the most logical day if they were going to do it soon. But this is speculation revolving around the importance of that day in their country. One thing that this did get right, and this article did get right, and anyone who does their research on Vlad and everything else, he is big into symbolism. It says that, however, Western officials and analysts believe that that could change on May 9th, as far as the special military operation, instead of declaring a conflict. It says that they believe that could change on May 9, a symbolic day for Russia, with a former declaration of conflict, a WAR, that will pave the way for Vlad to step up his campaign. It says May 9, known as Victory Day inside Vlad's country, commemorates the country's defeat of the Adolfs in 1945. It is marked by a military parade in Moscow, and Russian leaders traditionally stand on the tomb of Vladimir Lenin's in Red Square to observe it. It says May 9 is designed to show off to the home crowd, to the immediate opposition, and to please the dictator of the time. So basically, it's kind of like their version of NK's parades, where they sit there and clap in their booth and everything drives by and they're like, yes, big boom boom. I don't know. To be honest, I haven't seen him do that. I know he holds his kind of one arm down. They show that in the shorts. But I don't know if he actually, this isn't confirmed. If he does go, ooh, boom boom. That's speculation. Just wanted to make sure, because I know people get technical. Boom boom. I don't know what the translation for that. Vlok vlok. Something like that. In Vlad country. I went too far? Okay. I'll reel it back. And before we talk about France on the brink of conflict with Russia, is Putin ready to tip Macron into the UKR conflict? Some say this is writing on the wall. Some say this is just all part of the kind of, I guess, the show, the big show that's happening. But it's not good news, and especially now that we're breaking news. By the way, if you just joined us just a few minutes ago, we broke it as it was happening. There was no update, and we will try to update by the end of the show. It looks like NK has launched an unidentified object, so we don't know what it is yet. We don't know if it's possibly going to hit. And Dex, I know that it looks like you're already looking into seeing if it's...
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Okay. So we will update by the end of the show. Usually, if it's anything bad, it happens within a few minutes, and then you have the update within an hour, within 30 minutes. But with everything that's going on, this is kind of crazy. Real quick, I do want to remind you, if you want to protect yourself against an EMP, we have a way for you to do that. Again, for at least a year before we started working with these guys, people always asked us what we think you should do. That's when we ended up finding EMP Shield. EMP Shield, in fact, we actually started working with them before they had all of their crazy contracts. And this was a small company making these by hand in Kansas. Now, after I believe it was 2018, T-Man signed an executive order to harden our entire grid. They were actually mentioned in the EMP resilience report by the Department of Homeland Security as one of the companies that was called up during this time frame. And they have contracts with agencies like DOD, DHS, and now the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. So essentially everywhere in the United States has some sort of connection with this now. Again, now they have expanded. They are a much bigger company than they once were, but they still have the same family running it. Now, remember, they work with these agencies, but they are completely separate. This is a family group. It's a veteran-owned business. It's 100% American-made. And the reason why these are so cool is they can actually ground the signal of an EMP, all three phases. So there's not whatever kind of EMP may happen, all three, E1, E2, and E3, it will ground the signal from it in a 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your device. It can also protect you against CMEs or the natural kind. If you've ever heard of a Carrington event, a Carrington level event will happen. It is a matter of time. It is a matter of when. It is not a matter of if. So if we don't have our entire grid hardened by then, we will have huge problems. Not to mention we're in solar cycle 25, which has been the most, I guess it's been way over forecast as far as now. We're seeing crazy numbers and crazy data from this cycle already, and it's supposed to hit its peak in 2023 to 2025. So if you do want to protect your home, your house, your generator, your solar system, of course, you can protect all of your toys. If you want to protect your motorcycles, your boats, and of course, your solar generators, then make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. This is one of the best discounts you get. You get $50 off per device. That means if you're going to do multiple vehicles or multiple, combination of them, you get $50 off per device. That's, again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. It helps support our show, and it will, I believe, if this does happen, save lives. And then we have France on the brink of conflict with Putin ready to tip Macron into UKR conflict. It says tensions have been rising in France since Emmanuel's government announced weapon deliveries to UKR, a first for the country since the February 24th date that UKR event started. It says over the risk of conflict escalation with Vlad until late April, France had refused to support UKR out of fear of moving closer to conflict. France has since provided $100 million worth of weaponry and artillery to UKR to defend itself against the forces. It says defense consultant Jerome Palestrandi argued that the move could tip France on the precipice of conflict with Russia. So partly speculation and partly looking at the situation that they are currently in. This is most definitely one more country added to the list of all of these countries, all of the NATO countries and all of the UN countries that are involved in this, this is all going on at the same time, as we've covered, that they are all coming together. And just a couple days ago said that they are going to make this, what was it, a declaration of the future internet or something? Basically, that tells me something massive is about to happen, that when that happens, people will not be allowed to talk about. That is my opinion. That is not a fact, and that is my speculation on what is about to happen. Again, why would all of these countries just come together and be like, "Oh yeah, sure, let's agree on it. The future of the internet. We want to stop misinformation." It's kind of seems like something is about to heat up. Something's about to start, and we all know that during conflict times, Ganda is everywhere, and it's going to be turned up 50,000 notches. And remember, part of Ganda is putting things in the history books that are different than what they actually say. At least that's a way I would put it, but tell me how you think in the comments down below. And then Dex.
Adam, I do have an update. If you want to pull it up, it's in Screener.
Okay, that is a big relief. So far we have an update on the NK unidentified object that was launched. And it does appear that it was a test. I don't think many of us thought it was something else, but I'm glad that we were able to actually update this during the same show. It says that NK launches suspected missile towards the sea. NK has launched a suspected ballistic missile towards its eastern waters on Wednesday, South Korean and Japanese officials said, days after the NK leader Kim vowed to bolster his nuclear arsenal at the fastest possible pace and threatened to use them against rivals. The launch, the North's 14th round of weapons firing, also came 6 days before a new South K president takes office for a single 5-year term. Again, is it Moon that is their president still, or will be leaving, or already left? Do we know? Or was that the last president? I don't know how. I would think it would be Moon, since Moon was around in T-Man days.
Yeah, he's still there.
So he is
until
leaving.
All this changes.
Who is their new president? Because I know that we will probably be covering South Korea here now. If we can get that. And then
I believe it is Yoon Suk Yeol. Yoon is probably what will be referred to as.
Okay, so we'll I don't know how their system works. It's hard to keep track of every single country, but we have covered a lot of what is going on over there. The one thing I see is that we don't hear a lot about SK. Trinity, red pill or blue pill, please never do that. Especially you. You've had so many ups and downs over the last few years, Trinity. Thank you for your support. Says, respect for your work, Adam Dex Mods. Thank you to everyone here supporting independent news. Thank you, Trinity. You guys know you don't have to do that. Every time a mod does a donation, I say don't do that. You guys already do us a service in the chat. Irish Rebel, again, don't have to do that as well. Thank you, Irish. I appreciate that. Brother Ralph, I appreciate you. Ninja Squirrel, before it's too late, buy extra shoes. Ninja Squirrel, that's funny. I don't know if you maybe you saw the same video I did, but I just watched a prepper saying the importance of that because it's something that will be hard to attain. This person actually said that you should buy extra sizes too because they'll be a good bartering item. After watching something like Naked and Afraid, you might see why shoes would be important. East Tennessee Preparedness. Thanks, Adam, Dex, and Mods, for all the great info you produce in prepping for the prepping community. East Tennessee, thank you. East Tennessee Preparedness. Again, I don't think I've checked out your channel yet, but it sounds like you have one, so thank you so much. I'll have to check you out. Simply Pony says, hello, Mother Fooglers. What's going on, Simply? And thanks for stopping by every night, I think. I don't think you've missed a show. Gen X Voice, thank you, and thank you. Massive support from the chat tonight. Laura Shepard, thank you. Adam and Dex, you make a beautiful difference. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. Catherine Wilson, God bless you, Marf and Dex. D. Broads, CYLB, says, match in the first 50. Thank you, Marfoogle. The news and mods. Gone Girl 777 called our friend Paula. She's in Yosemite hiking and camping. Good for her. Hey, D. Broads, I appreciate that, and thank you so much. And hopefully she's healthy and out there getting some fresh air. Gen X Voice says, you haven't said that in a while. I appreciate you, Adam and Dex and mods. Google Phantom has been part of my life for a while now. Phantom. Phantom. I will, but I mean, is it a product or is it a something? And then Be Real Beast and Terry Quinn. Thank you. I'll have to see what's going on with that. All right, and then we have protests erupt outside the Supreme Court after Roe versus Wade ends up not going so well for some and going very well for others. It says pro-choice and anti-protesters descended on the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. late Monday as tensions mounted following the leak of a draft Supreme Court opinion overturning the landmark Roe versus Wade decision. It says the ruling was obtained by Politico in an extraordinary breach of Supreme Court's ironclad precedents of secrecy. If enacted, it would end a woman's constitutional right for that procedure. It says it has existed for nearly 50 years. It says minutes after the bombshell document was leaked, barricades were erected outside the Supreme Court building in anticipation of protests. So this is just one more thing that very well could tear up the entire country. In fact, if you look at this issue, it is one of the largest issues that has ever been protested on ever in history. As far as when any politician, they have usually a cut and dry opinion on this issue, and people usually go with whoever kind of goes with it. So, but, I know that this is another one. Like I said in the beginning, there's certain things that people will argue about in circles and circles. To me, as a personal opinion, my opinion is it's not really an argument. Because my personal beliefs, but again, I know that there's many different people here that think differently. But as far as this goes, one thing I can be sure of, and I think we can all agree on, is we all know that there are going to be huge swaths of people disagreeing. And when that happens, there very well could be protests, riots, and other things like that. So that is why we're watching out. And we would say keep your head on a swivel. Dex.
Well, one of the things I'd like to bring attention to is, and not on either one of these sides, because I don't want to get involved in the debate, but we talk often about speculation on whether things are planned or not planned, or did it just happen because it happened? Well, this is one of those things you can clearly see because someone decided to take information, and that someone, whoever it is, we don't know yet, had access to it. So they had high clearance. In other words, they worked very closely. And they intentionally brought it to the public before it was meant to be brought to the public. So this is by all intents and purposes, this is a, orchestrated event. It was designed to do this. Whoever did it had this in mind when they did it. So we have to think about that. Specifically when we think about what are the outcomes of this. And, one of the outcomes last night was like, within minutes, people were running to the steps of the Supreme Court. Within an hour, there was huge protests, right? And that's just one part of it. But there's probably a lot more that's going in behind the scenes that we don't understand, or we may not understand, but we need to start thinking about is why are they doing, whoever's doing this, why are they doing it, and why are they doing it the way they're doing it? And is it a distraction? Is it a division? Is it both? Is there something else, right, that's happening right now that we're not paying attention to? Because, by the way, this is all consuming for the most part in the news cycle right now, and it probably will be for a little while, for sure, right? So just keep that in mind, regardless of what side you sit in the debate. This has never happened like this before, ever.
Yeah, and well, yeah, and the only other thing would be is if it was hacked. Either way, then you could argue the same thing. But again, just to be, we don't know the exact circumstances. We know that it was obtained by Politico and then put out. Politico, by putting it out, they're doing their journalistic job. Whoever gave it to Politico, or whoever hacked it or had the security clearance to give it, why would they do it before? Will that affect any of the outcome? Will that change things because it was let out before it was supposed to? This is huge. And another thing is, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but especially on Twitter, with like Elon taking Twitter, all of these weird things have happened where, as you guys know, during T-Man era, it all went towards one direction, right? And the house filled with the right side, and everything was going towards one direction. Then, when the new president came in, it all just went super far to the other direction. Now it seems like it's being tugged back in an extreme side to the other direction. There's a ton of these weird victories and all this information coming out. How much of this was meant to happen like this? Like, this was it supposed to get so extreme that everybody got mad and divided about this, and then now they're pulling it back to where they want? You sometimes think, like, even these politicians that are like saying these things, do you think that they actually believe them? And I'm talking about the ones on the very far direction. Are they really that far to that direction, or are they doing it for monetary reasons? You know what I mean? Like, did they do it because they had? We've all seen the science, the fiction of House of Cards and stuff, like people getting cashed out or paid or something to get a bill through or help a corporation. But as far as this stuff, it seems like everything is heading towards towards the right again. It's weird.
And Adam, these people, and I'm just throwing it out there in general, but for the most part, I know I'm pretty sound on this. The people that work there with the justices, they're clerks, right? They're clerks of the court, and they are more than likely, and probably 100% of them are lawyers, and they have a legal career in mind. They didn't go do this, just because it was a fun summer job. These are not intern jobs. These are people who have law degrees, who are, hoping to become a judge one day, hoping to, advance their legal career, et cetera. And if any one of those people is responsible for this and it comes out, I mean, they literally ended their career, right? Irregardless of what happens with, or regardless of what happens to, them from a criminal aspect, just from, a career standpoint, they're toast. I mean, who they're never going to be on a bar, and that was their livelihood.
What if maybe this was possibly a female that was so strongly in one way or the other that they felt like they had to, and just a slight prediction, because we don't know yet. As of now, they say they are looking into it. Here's just a kind of a throwing it out there, crystal ball, that it would be a female that did it, and then the public will support it, and they possibly won't be punished as hard as they think. They may even be heralded as a hero because they leaked it and they released it or something. I don't know. Again, I just feel like something like that is going to happen. But if not, or we might not ever find out what happened there. But this is such a strong opinion. I could see somebody, this is the kind of subject that somebody would lose their job and say, screw the career, I'm going to do this. And maybe they are hoping that it will hurt the general outcome of it, or I don't know. Or it's kind of the first couple options we talked about, that it was meant to happen and everybody's all eyes on one place. Maybe the Depp trial isn't getting enough eyes. I don't know, but it's very, very crazy stuff. Not good times. And then, yeah. So we'll see. They actually do. They have launched a probe into the leak of the drafted information. So we'll see what happens with that. Brother Ralph, again, thank you so much. And of course, everybody that has popped in. Thank you, everybody that has already kind of popped in here. Stephen Wilkes, thank you so much, and I appreciate you following. Over on D Live, thank you, Arizona Ice Queen. Thank you for being here virtually every show. Meepup 007, JAB used to give us brain interface mod shout out. Hey, thanks for shouting out the mods. Gem, thank you for modding. I'm sure we have Chance Pallet in here. If you guys haven't checked out his books, he is an actual author, and my wife read his first book. I read about a quarter of it. Really good book. I haven't finished it yet. Make sure to go check out his stuff. Tristona, thank you. And then almost all of our mods have channel. The Silent Lemon, says Tristona. The Silent Lemon. Vicky K, thank you, and thank you. I appreciate all of that. And then Ninja Squirrel and everybody else that supported tonight. Let's see here. Who do we have in chat here? Rizar, Doug O'Neill, what if it's Ganda to justify the new info police? That's a thought. Twisted Luck Truth, maybe they need a huge division right away for some reason. What? That's a hell of a leak of a leak. Yeah, no, I agree. That is a huge leak. That is the biggest leak that's ever. I mean, well, that's like up there. I think in history, this will be put up there with the leaks of the likes of, say, Edward Snowden and Assange. I know that they're a little bit different in form, but man. Recalcitrant said blackmail as usual. I have zero doubt if it was Sotomayor's clerk who leaked a 100% plan. News is bearing Denise 2,000 miles, proving the yes. Lee, thank you. By the way, we've attached that to several shows now in the web only. The Bitter Critter, Swiftbird, which brings me to the next point. Don't miss the web only content. You're only seeing half the show if you're not going to the website and checking all of that out, because there is some stuff that is just so out there that it's unbelievable. It's so unbelievable they won't let people believe it. Cheryl Aikens, Mari B, thank you, Steve O1966. Anyone who is choice will have their chance to explain it to Jesus. Good luck with that. Midterms coming up. Protect your electronic devices. Thank you, Bones. Thanks for putting the link to Off Grid. And Scrappy Doo, thanks again for being here. Paul Stone, Tinfoil Hat, and everybody else that popped in. And very surprised by how many people used the super thanks. Thank you, everybody that ended up doing that. Again, that was new to me. I did not know that you could actually donate on replays until that they told us we had that. So I guess we had it a year after everybody else. So thank you, Billy2226, Mary Wright, Kevin Bradford, and many more. Very awesome people. Thank you, Carol Wasan, Tico and Taco, Dangerous, and of course K-Rec, Tammy Brown, and 3 City Cats. Dex. We have a very good Marfoogle News video for everybody tomorrow. It is going to be live, and we're going to talk about some really insane stuff that may just have everybody scratching their heads. Other than that, though, we have web-only content that is kind of off the charts.
Yeah. So what's going on over in web only? And I know most of you already know this, but go to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for today's show, or open the description on YouTube and click on show notes. It'll take you right here. Scroll down to that web-only content. Not only do you find the some of the videos from Adam's tweet or Twitter account, where you can see some of those movements. Those are there, so make sure to follow him. But also, there's other things going on, especially around the story we were just talking about with the Supreme Court. There's the speculation that people are drawing about who they think it is. Of course, none of that's going to be proven, but there's a lot of ideas around that. There's plenty of other conversations that are happening on the spectrum that go to one side or the other, and why they're saying it. Of course, you know, everybody's got their opinion on that. That's fine. That'll be there. Some things happening with. Do you remember Burks? she's in the news. The doctor that was famous with Dr. F, and some other stuff happening in the political spectrum that's pretty far to one side or the other, like we say. But you're going to want to check out what's happening around there, and also what some major companies are doing with new news that's come out, like Amazon. So if you're missing marfooglenews.com, if you're not going there, you're missing the rest of the story. So the rest of the story is here. There is plenty of other updates. Marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to that web only content.
It's crazy how many scandals happen on a daily basis with just every, Congress, senators, all these different things that happen all the time. And it's like, we know that it's the most corrupt part of our lives. We all know that the politics is super, 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 super corrupt. And it's what's running our lives. Crazy stuff. Jungle Jim 57, thank you, says great show tonight. Molga Koldas, Wade Deeds, Blue Dazzlebug, thank you, says a Red Rose. Well, thank you. Elizabeth Gunther, Colorado wants to allow it after 20 afterbirth. That's crazy stuff. Helicopters at night. See, I think that is like, you would think that most people, that would just be kind of not even a debate after out, right? Paul ruined everything. Gus Cruzio says, yes, I agree. Thank you, everybody that has popped in tonight. I appreciate everyone that makes it to every show. Tomorrow, we will have a great show for you, and we will also be on Marfoogle News. So stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about something really just nuts. Thank your mods. Your mods kept it a very peaceful place. They are absolutely some of the nicest people ever. I've known almost all of them for over 4 years now. So make sure to go thank them. Make sure to go check out their channels. You got CJ Blaze, Trinity. She does beautiful videos. You have Bones. You have Rip Curl Preparedness. You got all sorts of cool people down there. So make sure to go check out their channels. And then over on D Live, all of them have channels or books that you need to go read. Very smart people. Again, thank you. And then just a reminder, if you do want to support us, go over to marfooglenews.com and go look at the affiliates on the right. Thank you, everybody. Love you guys. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Remember, the show continues over on Marfoogle Jams and over on D Live. You know what's so crazy, by the way? Just when they have something called Live Redirect. And for anybody on D Live, you know exactly what this is. It's where you are live and you can actually take your audience and your viewers and bring them somewhere else. I wonder where they got that. Pretty crazy stuff. Kind of exciting to have that. That's actually one of the things I've always thought was one of the coolest and most inventive ideas over on that platform. So really crazy. So soon, we might be able to possibly like do a premiere, and then after it's over, we'll be able to bring our audience to somebody else like Jacob Israel or Global Witness, which, by the way, Global, please don't you have, I can never catch you live, and you keep supporting. You know you don't have to. Thank you, and thank you. Have a good night, guys. Be safe.
Bringing it down, and I'm bringing it down, and I'm bringing it down, and I'm bringing it down, bringing it down, and I'm bringing it down, and I'm bringing it down, and I'm bringing it down. Right, Poggers. And I'm bringing it down, and I'm bringing it down, and I'm bringing it Roger Cunningham, Marvin Fontaine, Kathy Walker, Jam, Steve Ball, Joe Sandler, Howe, Jack, Ninja Squad, Irie, Russell, Charlie, 64, Dave Ball, Cutmore, Steven, and Bolo, Go Now, Storm Rider, Go and I jump now, honey. Charlie. Johnny, I'm the pierce in the veil. Not the lady, and the June buckwell. Lord, as a bar, Frank, so, and Andy. I'll let they kiss, Sarah and Shastina. Moga, I said Moga, I said Cody, Moga, know this. Jerry Quinn, Bones in the stealth mode. Ho, Diddy Ho, and the Ho, Diddy Low, and the Heidi on the 12. WIS, 10, everybody gonna go get yes. James on the pageant, nuclear fire. Go right down with the big storm rider. These are all. Belinda, Copes, and the best is all. Nah, go to bring back. We the Dave Dad. Oh.